Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Hello, everybody. Tuesday. We are in the summer. Sorry for you guys in the South Hemisphere, but we are in the summer here, and we need to celebrate. See how happy Wanderley is, you know? Yeah. I bet Dawn is melting in Chicago right now. Linda already evaporated because in Texas it's so warm there, you know. But here it's okay. In Ireland it's very good, and I hope in Sweden as well. So good to have you guys here. Today we're gonna finish chapter 5. Finally, after 10 episodes, we're gonna finish chapter 5. It's the longest chapter in the Gospel according to Spiritism. I hope you are with us and say welcome to our friends from Ireland, all the SSI workers and volunteers. Thank you very much for being here with us. From London, my friends from London, from Portugal, from Brazil, from America, from Sweden. So it's always nice. And now Poland, there is a Poland here as well. So very nice to have you all with us today. So the long short story is we will talk today about items 28, 29, 30, and 31 of the in the chapter 5 of the Gospel according to Spiritism. Items 28 through 31. Okay? So let me do our initial prayer. So I'd like to invite everyone to sit comfortably. Empty your mind, your heart, if you can, and if you want to. Close your eyes. Have a deep breath. And make connection with superior spirits, with our mentors of this program, mentors of Kardec Radio. Please enlighten ourselves, those who are watching us and will watch when they are ready to do it. May these good energies reach out all the brothers and sisters who are sick in the hospitals, at home, those who are on the streets without shelter, those who are feeling abandoned, alone, thinking about suicide, and those who doesn't have anything to eat. So be it. Amen. Okie dokie. So, Wanderley, I put you on the fire today.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, Wanderley is looking forward to go on a holiday, so we need to take advantage of him.
Yeah, I hope I'm gonna go to Malta soon. Not so soon. Still have about 1 month. No, more than 1 month actually, but I'm preparing hard.
Yeah, he's looks like this prisoner. He's cross a day in the calendar. Like every day he's
Oh, yeah.
crossed.
Uh,
Okay. Okay. So, my friends, I'd like to start the discussion today asking the question we have here on the item 28. I think that's a perfect question, and this will help us develop the idea here. What do you think, anyway?
I don't know if it was your internet or my internet, but I didn't hear anything that you said.
Okay. So
Yeah, maybe it was mine.
let me repeat again. So
Sorry.
I'd like to start the discussion today asking the question we have on the item 28. And this will
Okay.
help us to develop our train of thought here.
Guys, first, Steven, let's just remember for those who weren't here last week, in this part we are talking here, we are talking about voluntary trials, okay? And here Kardec, he has several questions that he asks, and the Spirit of St. Louis, he's the one who is replying to Kardec. And here in the question 28, Kardec basically is asking, a man who is agonizing under the suffering crow, his state is known to be desperate. Would it be licit to save him a few minutes of an anguish by hastening this end? So basically, he's saying if there is someone who is feeling a lot of pain and we can feel that that person is nearly dying, can we go there and finish the job? And we see this a lot of times in uh, Hollywood movies where someone is suffering, we go there and we end the suffering of that person. Maybe shooting that person or turning off a machine which perhaps is keeping that person alive. But Kardec here makes a very good point. St. Louis make a very good point, saying that we cannot know the end of one person until the end exactly. What he's trying to say, maybe you see someone in a hospital and you say, oh, let's switch off the machine, but that person is suffering for 2 years and that person is not even moving, blinking their eyes. That person is not gonna be able to survive, the doctors say. And here the spirits are basically saying to us that we should life take its course, though it can be painful to us as a family, for example, because we are watching this, we are seeing that person that we love so much with no reaction, and we think, oh, I'm going to switch off the machine. But the spirit say in the end, who can know what God has reserved to the last minute, to that very last second of our patience, of our resignation? Maybe that spirit choosing that suffering himself or herself before. And we can be sure about one thing, maybe that person is physically incapable of transmitting anything. But André Luiz explained to us that cases like this, normally the spirit is attached to the material body, and once the spirit is attached, the spirit is aware of what's going on here. We see that with André Luiz, once he's in a surgery, he is there with no movements. He's sleeping basically, being operated by doctors, but he's seeing everything, what's going on. And we see doctors nowadays saying so many cases of near-death experiences where doctors are operating the people, and that people who are dead, maybe to some doctors they are technically dead, they're watching everything. So the spirit says, let life take its course, let God decide when it's the end. But he's saying to us also, try your best to keep that person alive, try your best to help that person, and do not go there and be the one who is going to be ending the life of that person. What do you think, Stevan?
Well, I agree with you, especially here in Europe. We do have a lot of people choosing to when they reach like certain age of, they try to, not they try, they go to clinics mostly in Switzerland, specialized
Euthanasia.
in terminate life. Yeah, euthanasia. That's the word I was trying to find out. And even there is a move, You Before Me. The guy was sick, and he opted to go to this clinic in Switzerland and proceed with the euthanasia. So some people say, "Oh, but this is my will. This is what I want to." Okay, fine, no problem. It's your will. It's you to decide. Okay, it's your life. You do with your life whatever you want. But what we can guarantee to you, and before you decide to go to this path, read the book Heaven and Hell from Allan Kardec. Go to some interviews Kardec did with some spirits, and then you have your decision. Because when we born, the only sure we have is we're gonna die, and we're gonna die at the moment. Is like when you would drive a car. You go to the gas station, you fill up your tank, so your car will drive for another, I don't know, 1,000 miles, 3,000, I don't know in miles, like 900 miles. I don't know how much your tank will make. And when the car stop, it means okay, finish. The same thing with life. The same thing when you kill yourself. We don't know if you are in a half tank, half full, 3/4, 4/4. You don't know how much you left in you to live. Perhaps another 24 hours, perhaps another 1 week, or perhaps 10 more years. We don't know. And when you kill yourself in this euthanasia, or you say to the doctor, "Hey, if I'm reached this time, just turn off the equipment." You will need to consume that fuel left. And this is the part when we say we suffer, because once we are in the spiritual world, we can see the purpose. Many things happen to us more clearly. We can see a cause for that reaction. We can see this more clear, which here incarnated, we don't have this kind of vision. And when you recover your sense in the spiritual life, and you see you did a big mistake in your life, there is no Control C, Control V. Let's redo here. Go back. Oh, sorry, wrong button. Let's return. There is no return. And then starts the desperation of that person at the moment, because there is no return. So I know for some times we don't see any avenue to choose. There is no option here. We think we will stop that pain, or sometimes we think, oh, it's gonna be better for them, for my family. They don't need to stay here. So at the moment, you need to be with you and thinking about you, about your mission, about what you have done. You know, uh, you need that experience, your spirit, even though, let's say, you are in a bed, just breathing because of the equipments, you don't feel anything, but your spirit perhaps need that in order to evolve. Your spirit need that moment in order to perhaps acquire another virtue. So the only thing I can say, if you're having suicidal thoughts, it's don't do it. And before you make your mind, read the book Heaven and Hell, written by Allan Kardec. There are a lot interviews with spirits, especially spirits who commit suicide in different ways. They give their description what they saw, and this may help you to take a decision. And you, Wanderley?
No, I like when you, because we mentioned the heaven and hell, and I know it's a book from Kardec that most of the people they don't know. But like Stevan said, this book has many spirits who have suffered through suicidal. But Kardec here, he asks several questions, for example, because he doesn't talk 100% of about the suicide of the person who wants to kill himself very, very clearly. But Kardec asks certain questions which lead to a kind of suicidal. For example, when he asks here, if a person does not like his life anymore, is it okay for that person to go to the war, for example? Of course, Kardec used the war because that's the time that he was living when Europe was in the war. Before Kardec, there was Napoleon there. We have wars, with Germany even after, and before. So war at the time of Kardec was something quite common. So Kardec asks, if that person who does not like his life anymore, if it is okay for him to go to the war, but he's not going to the war to save his country. He's going to the war because he knows he's gonna die. So he's gonna be a person who's gonna take a gun and doing whatever way he can to die as soon as possible because he does not have the courage to kill himself. Kardec is not trying to judge the courage here or not, but Kardec is finding ways that certain people kills themselves. And the spirits, they reply, no, that's not okay. Because if that person has a life, once that person does that with the excuse of fighting for his country, he can lie to himself. But once he goes to the spiritual world, the intention in his mind, in his soul was to kill himself initially, not to fight for his country. And Kardec, the spirits of St. Louis says, if he really wants to fight for his country, he should try to be healthy and alive. Because if he was healthy and alive, he could defend more people. The spirit of Louis is not defending the war. But as we said, the war at that time was something quite common. So the St. Louis say that if you really like your country, defend it. Defend the people. Defend the elderly. Defend the women, the children you cannot fight. Be useful with your life. That's what the spirits are saying to Kardec. So then here, Kardec, he's trying to go, really like on the side to try to go into suicide, but not to the direction of suicide. Because some people, as Andre Luis explained to us, they commit suicide without knowing they are committing suicide and without the intention of doing it. But sometimes, because of their action, their repetitive actions, which they do daily for so many years, that will bring them to a suicidal stage. Of course, it's different than someone who kills themselves, But Kardec keeps going. He's asking, but if that person is in the war, That person goes there and save a children for a child, for example. But that person does not want to kill himself. But he sees that that children will die, the house will burn. If that person saves that children, will be that be a suicide? The spirit says no, because the intention is not in the heart. That person wants to live, but what he sees that people who needs his help are in danger, so he gives his life away to save the others. That person in the spiritual world is considered as a hero, not as a suicidal, even if he killed himself to save someone. You see, guys, the action looks quite the same, but the intention is what St. Louis explains to us in the Spirit's book, Kardec. The Spirit explains to Kardec also that the intention in the heart of the person is everything. So all these situations here about the voluntary trials, which Kardec is asking to St. Louis, is always going to go back to the intention. Do you have the intention to hurt yourself? You can lie to everyone else, but not to yourself. What your real intention in doing that act? That's why we have to pay attention to what goes on in our mind. Sometimes people, they get into depression, and people, they start to say, I don't want to live anymore, but I don't have the courage to kill myself. I'm going to be drinking every day. Some people, unfortunately, in Ireland, people, they drink a lot. They do not want to kill themselves, but after 10 years drinking, that makes some damage and destroys their family and those who they love also. That's why I have to be careful with our intention. Sorry, Stevan.
No, it's correctly. There's a question here from Linda. What if doctor tells you the person is brain dead? Linda.
Stevan, wait. Sorry,
Okay.
but sorry. We have here the reply from Kardec, if you don't mind. Not the reply 100%. Sorry, Stevan. But
Okay,
here
go ahead.
Kardec says, in the first paragraph, has science never been wrong in its predictions? Sorry, Linda. Sorry, Stevan, also. Yes, Linda, I cannot judge. I've never been to this situation. But what the spirits of St. Louis is trying to remember us is like this. Maybe there is something which science didn't discover at that time, or maybe it will take a few hours or a few extra days to that person to recover. So I cannot guarantee, I cannot reply your question 100%. But think like this: maybe doctors, they don't know everything. Maybe they made a mistake. Sorry, Stevan.
Yeah, and just a compliment for here, Linda. Even though if the brain is dead but the heart is still beating, again, we don't know what that spirit choose as a trial. We don't know. Perhaps they need that moment. Of course, that person does not live like for months, but they need that time. They need that time to allow the heart stop beating and the person make the passage. So think about it. I know it's cases and cases.
Yeah.
We cannot generalize here, of course not. For example, okay, I don't want to turn off the equipment, but I don't have money to keep my relative, my mom, in the hospital
Yeah.
because I cannot afford to pay the bills. What we're gonna do here? It's case by case. I'm not saying this is right, but I'm saying it depends the condition here, because we know, especially in the U.S., how much costs a day in a hospital in the U.S. It's a fortune. Now, if you don't have a health care, you're literally in trouble in the U.S. Now, here in Ireland, you are more or less in trouble, but it's still expensive. So we need to we cannot generalize here. We need to evaluate all the possibilities. What we are saying here is if you find that situation, please keep the person connected to the equipment as long as you can.
Yeah.
Okay? No? So that's the idea. It's not like for you are a millionaire, money is not a problem for you, and they say, "Oh, your wife is brain dead. Let me turn off the equipment." Yes, turn off. Yeah, please. Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, let her not suffer anymore. She's okay. It's different, you know. You know that this guy has all the conditions to say yes. Let no keep her alive. Let's fight until the last minute. But if you are in a public health care, you don't have even money to pay your food,
Mm.
and the doctor give you this option, and you are still already worried how you're gonna pay the hospital bills, is a different story.
Oh yeah, good point, Steven.
You know what we are saying here again, I will repeat. Keep that person alive, connect to the equipment as much as you can.
Mm.
Okay? Okay?
Steven, we see cases, for example, if we go in the opposite way, let's get children who are born and that they are born with some problems. If you take in the past, children who were born with mental problems or physical problems, they were no good for society. A lot of
Yes.
parents, they used to go and not to kill themselves sometimes because they had no courage, but to leave them away, to throw them into the
They
into
used to
the
leave,
forest or
they
whatever.
used to leave the kids in the orphanage. You know?
Yes, I mean, if they were able to live in the orphanage happy days, but some cases, if you go back even longer before, they used to live then in the forest. So we can go in the opposite direction. So not only in the end of the life, but if you have a children who is born with a limitations that all doctors says, maybe it's good for that children to die. Why are you going to spend so much energy on these children? Because he's gonna be no good. Divaldo Franco explains a beautiful case about a doctor, a German doctor, who used to give birth to kids. One day he sees a kid who had a lot of infirmities in his body. He was like full of marks. All his body was how you call it, Stevan? Torto, me deu branco. Uh, all
What?
banded. Yeah, torto, banded. Bend. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he couldn't hold his body steady. He was all like this, this little baby. And the doctor said to this mom, throw your kid away. He's gonna be a burden to you. She said, no, he's gonna be with me. According to Givaldo, I'm going to simplify, this kid was given the opportunity by some people around him to study. He became a doctor. And that kid, maybe 50 or 60 years later, he was able to save the granddaughter of this doctor who almost killed this baby. But the doctor said that once he was going to take the baby and throw the baby away, he heard a voice saying, you are a doctor. You studied to save lives, not to take lives. So do your part. If this kid is not going to survive outside, that's not your problem. You are here to help life, to help this baby to survive. Do what you can do. So what I'm trying to say is like this. In either way, in the beginning of life with a baby with has a problem, or either in the end of life with another person or someone who is in an accident, what we are trying to say is allow that person, that as much as you can, of course, like Steven said, to life to take its own course, especially if you're a doctor. If you're a doctor, I would advise you to never to take a life away, because that person says to you, I'm a rich person, you can take my life away, like Steven said. No, you have studied to save lives. not to take them away. So we don't know what life will turn. Even for a baby, for a child, for a children with problems, or for an adult, we see so many, as we are saying, near-death experiences where people, all the doctor said, that person is dead, is clinically dead. That person from nowhere, that person wakes, and all doctors said, "Come on, it's impossible. I can't believe it's a miracle." They say, you know. So we have to fight for life, because as much as we can, we have to use this life that we have, these seconds, to do as much good as we can. Maybe not to the others because we can't sometimes, but at least for ourselves, you know. But that's it, Steven. What do you think?
Well, and also, I would say to you, when you have this kind of situation, talk to the person, do a prayer. You know, perhaps that person is afraid of dying. Let it go. You know,
Yeah.
say then, okay, we'll be fine here. Talk, do a prayer. They are listening to you. I guarantee they will listen to you. You know, and I like this example here. Kardec said, when we sacrificed our own life, it's opposite the way Wanderley well said. Like when we go to a war, and you have two different types of soldier. Those soldiers who know we're gonna die, and those soldiers who know he will not die there.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know that. Depends how we enter there. And everything is fear. Fear is the worst enemy ever. No, so the person, the example Wanderley gave, the person decided to go to war because he didn't have courage to kill himself. And in the war, in May of shooting episode, you're gonna die. This is killing also because you didn't fight for your life. Same thing apply today. What you are doing in order to allow you to survive, because the virus is here. Anyone can take it. Rich, poor, Spiritist, Catholic, anyone can take it. Anyone. So how much you are fighting to preserve your life? How much you are taking care of your life and the life for the people who are surrounding you? Think about this. This is included as well in suicidal. Let's take an episode here. You don't care about this. You're living your life as used to be. So, but suddenly you are infected by the coronavirus. You went to the hospital, and unfortunately, you passed away. Do you think everyone gonna receive you in the heaven with flowers, chocolates, bars, and everything? Hey, welcome, my friend, welcome back. No way. I guarantee, no way. So think about it. I'm not saying here you need to take vaccine or don't take vaccine. I'm just saying preserve your life. I'm saying here apply social distance, face cover when is needed, wash your hands. That's what we are saying here. Taking the vaccine is up to you. We are not raise anything here. You need to have your own conscience and decide what if you're gonna take or you don't take. But what you're doing to preserve your life? What are you doing to preserve the life of the others who are surrounding you? Surrounding you doesn't mean your wife, your kids. Surrounding you, I'm saying that people who's passing by on the street right now, you do not even know his or her name. I'm talking about that. Because preserve the life of your wife, your kids, it's wonderful. I'm talking about to preserve the life are for those who are in the same queue in the supermarkets to pay their groceries. You never seen that person. You don't know even the name or the age or the story of that person. I'm saying the exercise love towards that person. So we need to think about it. Okay?
Yeah, it's a good point you made, Steven, because we have to understand that each action that we do, we affect the others. Even if you want or if you don't want, if you know or if you don't know. The same, like Steven said, applies in the other direction. If I don't look after myself, if I spread the virus, I'm almost like I'm helping to kill those people. Even if I don't want, if I don't have the intention, but if I've heard that I should wear a mask, if I've heard that I should do certain procedures in order to keep safe the others, if deep in my heart I say I don't care about anyone else, you are in big trouble. One thing is if you don't know what you have to do, that's one thing. But if you know and if you're still not doing, it does not mean that you're gonna be a suicidal, like Steven said, or you're gonna be a killer in the spiritual world. No, but you're gonna have your little part of the cake, we can put this way. Instead of having the entire slice of cake, you're gonna have maybe a few scrambles of the cake, but you're gonna have your part, on it. So everything that we do, that's why once we are talking about the regeneration word, Kardec explains beautifully in the last chapter that the word of regeneration is a word that people are aware of their actions. The word of regeneration is where people they help each other, they care about their action. So I cannot live in the words of regeneration anymore and say I don't care, I don't believe in masks, I don't care about masks, but all the science has said wear the mask. I don't believe, I'm not gonna wear. There is no more space for that in the regeneration world. Not only for the mask, we are using this example now because we are living this, but that could apply to any kind of situation. So if you go even deeper in more high evolved places, in the pure words, there is no more of this. Everything that we do, we are thinking about someone else. Not because we want to be the good ones, but our vibration is so high because we reached this. We pass. It's like if you have reached to your master's or your PhD, you cannot make certain mistakes that students are doing anymore. You pass that level, so you just keep going and you avoiding doing this. So yes, we should be a bit more aware of our actions at the moment and in the future as much as we can. And that's, I believe, um, it's a point which will open up our conscience. Because once we start to think, it's not only about me, it's not only about what I want, you become that person who gives, like the Spirit of Louis said here, you become that person who gives your time, who gives part of your life to the others. You are not like a kid anymore who just asks, I want, I want, I want, for me, for me, for me. You are able to give. That's why all the high evolved spirits, Jesus and in all other philosophies or religions, they always talk about the act of charity, to give to the other, because they understood where they came from, that there they have to give. And here, as it says in the last part, Steven, it says here, here by showing the strength of the Spiritist faith, many unfortunate and wretched people can induce to resign. No, sorry, before. In the moral sense, by the example they offer their submission of God's will. So he's saying here basically that we can show that we are doing good, we care about the others by the example. So be the example in your house, in the place that you work as much as you can. We are not saying be perfect, but once you are doing this, you are using your material life, all the material things that God has given to you, in order to help. That's the main. That's how it closes chapter 5, San Luis.
Yeah, but I want you to emphasize something here. And Kardec said, from the moment in which there is no intent to seek death, there is no suicide, but devotion and self denial despite the certainty of dying. So, intent to seek death. So, analyze it. What's the intent? Intent is, okay, I will do this and I can die, so I won't do it. Like, for example, you feel afraid of heights, they will not go to 59th floor of that building and stay close the window. So it's up to you. You have the free will. Again, we said it here many times. You do have the free will, and you are free to choose whatever you want for your life. And be the example, like Wanderley said, to those who are surrounding you. It's your choice. The decision is in your hands, in your mind. It's up to you to take left or take right. Nobody gonna punish you. Nobody gonna point their fingers to you. At the end, when we are making the passage, it's just us and our conscious. There is no Wanderley beside me, keeping courage, my friend, courage. No. Or there is nobody here holding my hands and say, hey, let's do it together. No. It's just you and your conscious. Are your conscious clean, free of guilt enough to give you peace of at the moment you die? If the answer is yes, happy days. Keep exercising exactly what you are doing. Keep doing whatever you are doing. But if your answer is no for that question, fix this. Still have time. If proud avoids you to go any further, work this pride. Work this selfishness. Yeah.
Yeah, Steven, especially for example, I see here that I don't know who has kids here, but I can see that Severina, she has a girl with her, a little girl. So I guess it's her kids. I don't know who else has kids here. I know you have. So once we are talking about example, we can try to be the example to the others at work. We can try to wear our masks. But for I don't have kids, but I know Steven's kids. So there is no chance you're gonna be the example, either for good or for bad for them. That's why the Spirit of San Luis emphasized the example. Because whatever we do, people that are watching, kids that are watching us. Whatever we do here in front of the camera, people that are watching and analyzing us. Whatever we say, we make mistakes with our English pronunciation and knowledge here, for sure. But one thing which no one can say, I believe, is that we can say here, okay, Steven, I don't want to do that anymore, blah, 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 or we are trying to find excuse to don't do this. to this do these lives. Sometimes Steven wants to stay with his family. Sometimes I want to stay in the sun doing barbecue. Yes, but we are doing here because we chose this, not because we are trying to be heroes or because we think we are good, because we like, and we are trying to pay back what Spiritism is giving to us and gave to us in the past. So once we are aware that people that are watching us, people they are, watching our actions, and if you are being an example, at least for one person, we don't know, maybe for more, we have to rethink more our actions. Because a friend of ours, more than Steven and I, Bento Steven, he said one day when I was in your house that words they can, make people,
Mental
they can
health.
conquer. Huh?
The mental health.
No, words they can kind of conquer people, by the power that the way that we use these words. But the example conquers even more because the example does not need words.
Yeah.
So we have to try to pay attention to what we do and try to be our best, to the others. Good examples, and that's what Kardec's always. And here we're gonna see the next chapter next week. One we're gonna see the chapter 6, which is Christ the Consoler. On this chapter here, the spirits they analyze some good examples of Christ, how he was dealing with the apostles at that time, with people who had no clue about what he was saying most of the time, but how did Jesus was able to conquer the heart of those people with his words? Yes, some people maybe, but all of them that he was able to touch in their hearts was true example, because he gave the example of being how to be a good man, how to be charitable, how to be kind to the others, how to forgive the others. So in the next chapter we're gonna see a little bit more about this, and at least for me is the most beautiful chapter of the gospel according to Spiritism. So yeah, it's gonna be a nice talk about the example.
Yeah. And here on 1931, I Kardec asked to the spirits of Saint Louis, do not those who resignedly accept their suffering by submitting to God's will with an eye on their future happiness work only for themselves, and can they render their suffering profitable for others? It's put an example like today is like when you do a charity and you take a picture, you're doing this charity, and then you put in your Instagram, Facebook page and say, hey, helping my neighbor.
Mm.
You helped your neighbor because he needed to, you want to, or you help your neighbor because you want to show to everybody you are a charitable person,
Like the Pharisees.
like the Pharisees.
Yep.
So, and the other way around is when you do that. There is a sentence. Perhaps Wanderley, I will start the sentence. Perhaps Wanderley knows the entire sentence. He used to say from Emmanuel, the spiritual guide from Chico Xavier, used to say that uh, when you do an action, but this action do not hold. Oh no, 1 second. When I do an action and this action is filled with love, good intention, go ahead. When I will do an action, but this action is full of pride, selfishness.
Mm.
Don't do it. Stop. Stop and think. This is not the exactly sentence, but that's one way I have to understand. I understand this, what Emmanuel used to say. Always think before you act. It's like the words. When you say the words, you cannot catch back the words. It's already said. So be conscious of what you're doing, how you do your charity, how you do it. And again, let's use the example. Teach this to your kids. Help the others as much as you can, the way you can. You don't need to put this in Instagram. You don't need to say, hey, I'm donating $1 million to this or that organization. Just do it.
That's it.
Just do it. If you cannot help anyone, start cleaning your neighborhood. Give a bag of trash bag to your kids and ask them to catch all the garbage on the surroundings.
Stevan, you made a very good point about like showing off about charity. Because the other day, a friend of mine, he asked me, Wanderley, but if I'm an artist and if I'm doing charity, people, they're going to follow my example and help the others. Yes, he's correct.
Yeah.
But I told him the same thing which the Spirit of Louis said here, and the Spirit says to Kardec in the Spirit's book. What was the intention in the heart of that artist? Let's give an example, just to give a name. If you take Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, if they go there and they help 20 kids in Africa or whatever, if their intention was really to help them, and they set a good example to other people who likes them, maybe other people, they're gonna start doing that also, and that's very good. But if their intention was just to show off into society,
Promoting themselves.
to promoting themselves, yes, they're gonna be still doing good to that kids. We cannot say they are not, but once they go to the spiritual world, they cannot say, okay, I did good. And Jesus says that in the Bible. Jesus said to the Pharisees, like, for those who are doing good and their intention here is just to show off to the people in the temple, they received their paid of that day. So they received their reward. So do not expect, once you go to the spiritual world, to do not expect more reward from God. He's basically saying like this: while other people who pass their lives helping the others, not with 1 million, maybe with $2, with €1 or €2, 1, 2, 3 reais, doesn't matter how much, but that person gave everything to the other. That person didn't show off. Maybe that person didn't even know Instagram or Facebook to be posting. So that person did the best they could with their possibilities. That person can expect their best reward in life, not from God, but from God, we can say, but in life in general, because that person did charity without caring, without really like thinking to show off about anyone. Just did it because they have a good intention. So again, the intention is the most important. Yes, you can help millions of people. If your intention was just show off, happy days. People, they said you are nice, they're gonna praise you. But in the spiritual world, do not expect anything extra. That's according to Kardec and according to Jesus in the Bible.
That's it. That's it. And I think this is everything for today. I mean, this is left. No.
Yeah.
It's already the chapter 6, the Counsel in Christ, which we're going to talk next week, next Tuesday. And by the way, yeah, this Thursday, we will have a special guest, Roberto Watanabe. He already gave a lot of talks to us. He's from FESP, São Paulo Spiritist Federation. And he will talk about Leon Denis.
Great.
Okay? He will give his talk about Leon Denis. It's going to be in two parts. One, 24th of June, and the second one, and 27th of July. Okay? Also, I'm talking to Dan, and Dan probably will be here with us some days as well. I know he was traveling, and he just got back home recently for Father's Day. So he'll be with us very soon. Wanderley is putting here Wednesday. We do have our studies, Spiritist studies, is 8 p.m. It's open to everyone, but it's not live. So send an email to spiritismireland@gmail.com, spiritismireland@gmail.com, and Nady or Tanya will send you the link to access that meeting as a Zoom meeting. Okay? Okay, so that's it, my friend.
Oops. Yep. Let me just see.
What?
Guys, please don't forget, guys, to subscribe to our channel. I'm gonna leave. Actually, you cannot know our channel like this. I'm gonna send it here in the message, guys, because if you subscribe to our channel, our YouTube channel, it helps us quite a lot to keep posting more content about Spiritism. I'm gonna post the channel here on our messages. If anyone can do this, it will help us a lot. Put it here. And that's it, I guess, Steven.
Okay, so can you do the final prayer for us?
Sure. Let's close our eyes. For those who feel comfortable, let's take a deep breath. Let's be thankful for this moment. Let's try to put in practice as much as we can the teachings of the spirits, the gospel of our Master Jesus, and all the other good spirits who came to earth. Because the religion, the philosophy, it doesn't matter. What matters is the idea to love one another, to help one another, to be kind to as many people as we can, to improve ourselves, being better people than yesterday, controlling our passions and our emotions. At the same time, being humble to admit that we have still plenty to improve. So let's ask the good spirits. The name that we give to them doesn't matter. But let's be humble to express our gratitude to them and to God, asking help and support to ourselves and to each one of us who are dealing at the moment with COVID around the world. Thank God, so be it.
Okay. Oh, Don is here. He's not melted yet with the heat wave in Chicago. So, thank you guys. I'll see you next Thursday. Thank you, Linda. Take care of yourself as well. And it was nice to have this discussion today. Thank you. Have a nice rest of the day for you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.